everyone, it's Daria. Welcome back to my channel full of lit, and today I'm going to be attempting to read the entirety of Uzumaki by Junji Ito. For those of you who have never heard of Junji Ito, I am very new to his work myself, but he is lauded as the master of horror manga. I have read a few of his short stories, but there were two in particular that really stuck out to me: The Bully and The Enigma of Amigara Fault. I thought long and hard about what it was about these two stories that just kept nagging at me and wouldn't leave me alone. The Enigma of Amigara Fault is centered around these people-sized holes that have been found in a mountainside. The entire community and really the entire world are absolutely fascinated by these holes, and no one really knows where they came from or what their purpose is. And then it is slowly discovered that each hole actually matches a real person. And when a person discovers the hole meant for them, they feel this intrinsic need to go into the hole and see what lies in wait, even though no one has ever returned who went inside. I spoke about Junji Ito's mastery of body horror, and nowhere is it more apparent, in my opinion, than in the final panel of this story. It's horrifying, it's haunting, it will send chills down your spine. And even though that final image is terrifying and it will stay with you, that wasn't really the reason that this story scared me so much. As I mentioned before, when a person discovers their hole in the mountain, they are filled with this overwhelming need to go inside. And they know that it's dangerous, they know that no one has returned, and yet they can't help themselves. It's like something inside of them is calling them to do this thing. They have no control over themselves. It is deeply claustrophobic, and I think that's the first thing that really scares us. This inability to move, to have control over our own bodies. And this loss of control is not only regulated to the body in this story. These people have completely lost control over their own minds, their own decision making. The idea that you could lose control of yourself so completely that you would do something that would cause you irrevocable harm. That is the true horror of this story, and that's why it would not stop bothering me after I read it. And this caused me to think about the other story of Junji Ito's that disturbed me the most, The Bully. Unlike a majority of Junji Ito's work, there is no supernatural or body horror element to this story, and yet it is just as terrifying, if not more terrifying, than any of his other stories. In this story, a young woman is reminiscing about her childhood and remembering back to a time in which she was a terrible bully to a young boy who trusted her. And it was not just verbal abuse, she would physically torture this young boy. And when she gets older, he comes back into her life, confesses his love to her, and then once they're married and have a child, he abandons her. And the woman realizes that this is that boy's revenge for all those years that she spent torturing him and bullying him. And she becomes crazed and starts to exact that same abuse onto her child. And once again, I thought, what is it that is terrifying me here? The fear in this story is the idea that the people that we love, the people who are meant to protect us and love us unconditionally, are actually the people who want to cause us harm. So what we're seeing in these two stories, and what I saw in pretty much every short story of Junji Ito's that I read, is that Junji Ito will take these supernatural elements, body horror, these otherworldly storylines, and he will build them around very real, very human fears. And that is the true horror of his work. And I say all this to you because Uzumaki has been described as a story about a town that is haunted by the symbol of spirals. But having read Ito's shorter works and knowing what I know about him, I highly doubt that this story is just going to end at spirals. And I'm very excited to dig into this novel and figure out what is that real human fear that lies underneath. So you know how I said that Junji Ito is the master of body horror? Well, this book just proves that. I really enjoy body horror. I don't know what it is about the idea of your body turning against you and being used as a weapon against you that just fascinates me. There's all these external fears, ghosts, demons, stuff like that, but the idea that what we should fear the most is inside of us, incredible. The narrative feels very episodic, and what I mean by that is that every chapter will focus on a different person or member of this community and how the spiral affects them. And oftentimes when you start a chapter, it's a little bit unclear how this person's story is going to relate to spirals. For example, there is one story in which a boy and a girl are kind of in this Romeo and Juliet type situation. Their families hate each other and are pulling them apart, and yet they want to be together and run away together. And the entire time I'm reading their story, I'm just waiting and waiting for the spiral to make an appearance. How's it going to affect them? What's it going to do to them? And in a way, the spiral both saves their relationship and absolutely ruins their lives. I'm enjoying the episodic format because it's giving us a chance to get to know this town and the different members of the community. And Junji Ito does a really good job bringing all the characters back to our two main characters, Kiri and her boyfriend Shuichi. So I'm really enjoying myself so far. But the one thing that I'm not enjoying is that now I've become hyper aware of the spirals in my life. I walked into my garage and I saw this blanket that was rolled up, and I was looking at it and I was like, that is a spiral. And right now I'm looking at this box on my dresser that has spiral patterns on it. Like, I'm looking everywhere for spirals, and it's freaking me out. The fact that there's a spiral inside of our ears, like, I knew that that was a thing, but now, like, I know. I am hyper aware of the fact that there is a spiral in my ear just naturally occurring because of biology, and that is just... that's too much. At the beginning of this video, I asked the question, what is going to be the very human, very realistic fear that is at the center of this book? And so far, I don't really know if I have an answer. At first, I thought it could be mass hysteria. I know there have been certain accounts of that happening throughout history. It's very rare. But the thing about the spiral in this novel is that it is also a physical phenomenon. It's not just in these people's heads. I mean, the fact that this town is being haunted by a naturally occurring shape could be the horror in and of itself. Spirals are everywhere. They are in our artwork, they are inside of our bodies, they are out in nature. It's not really something that you can escape. So maybe that's the really scary thing, that something that is around us, that is constantly with us, could have the potential to hurt us. I don't have a straight answer right now, and I don't think I'm going to get one until I finish this novel. So far, every chapter is just about the ways in which the spiral is messing with this town and hurting people. And I don't know if it's going to continue being like that for the rest of this novel, or if eventually there will be some kind of resolution and some kind of destruction of the spiral. I don't know, and I'm not going to find out unless I stop talking to this camera and actually read. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? That is so gross. That is so... I'm sorry. I hate snails. I hate slugs. Anything with slime on it. I've read so much Junji Ito. I have seen so much body horror from that man, and somehow this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna need like 2 seconds to stop being such a baby and get over this, but I'm gonna take advantage of those 2 seconds. Okay. I only have about 150-ish pages left of Uzumaki, and the story has kind of shifted. It's no longer episodic, and instead we've moved into this kind of survivalist type narrative. Spirals have basically completely taken over the town. There was a string of naturally occurring disasters that basically wrecked the entire town, and now you literally cannot breathe or talk too loud without starting a whirlwind. There were a lot of people who saw the hurricanes and all these natural disasters on the news, and when they try to come to the town to help, they get stuck there because the spiral will not let them leave. Junji Ito shows a really great understanding of world building and just a great understanding of humans in general, because a lot of the people in the town have different reactions to what's happening. There's a lot of people who formed these very dangerous, volatile gangs who basically just do whatever they want. There are people who are fighting for survival and will gladly hurt other people in order to ensure their own safety. And then there are people who are just trying to get by and make sure that they and their loved ones can get through what's happening. Like I said, I only have about 100 or so pages left, and I'm coming up on a chapter called Escape. So I'm hoping that there'll eventually be some kind of resolution, whether they manage to actually escape the town or not, I can't say. But either way, I'm very excited to see what Junji Ito does. The endings to his stories always pack a punch. So I finished Uzumaki, and I actually am left pretty satisfied. There was a resolution, there was a proper ending, an answer to the question of why the spirals are haunting this town. And reading that final chapter, I think I might have some sort of idea of what the real horror of Uzumaki is. Throughout the novel, one character in particular, Shuichi, is asking the question of why the spirals are haunting this town. What about this town makes it so prone to this curse? And we get that answer, and I think it brings up, for me at least, a lot of fears that there are some things in our lives that we just can't control. This goes all the way back to his short story, The Enigma of Amigara Fault, which I mentioned before. That story is about the loss of control of one's decision-making, of one's mind, and indeed even of one's body. The loss of control that the individuals in Uzumaki feel, the way that they are drawn to the spiral, the ways that their body will contort into spirals themselves. Yes, once again, this is a loss of control of the mind and body. But in Uzumaki, the individuals of this story, you realize, don't actually matter. What is happening to them, what is happening to their town, is ancient. It's historic. It's destiny. They don't have control over their fate. What is happening to them is meant to happen. It is part of a cycle that will happen again. So the story hits you not only with this loss of complete control of who you are as a person, but also with the idea that perhaps you don't really matter and you're just part of this cycle that has nothing to do with you. So anything that you do, whether good or bad, if you try to fight against the spiral or give in to the temptation, it doesn't matter because you'll all end up in the same place. And I don't know about you guys, but I find that to be a very disturbing and chilling thought. So I think it's pretty clear this is getting 5 out of 5 stars. Did we expect anything less? Not at all. I'm very excited that I read this. I cannot wait to read more of Junji Ito's work. If you guys have any other recommendations of Junji Ito stories that you think I might like, or just horror manga in general that you think I should check out, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you get something out of it, whether it's motivation to go check out this incredible story for yourself, or just the satisfaction of watching another person become a Junji Ito fan. As always, you can find my social media links in the description below, so go ahead and check those out if you would like, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!